Hi everybody, how's everybody's morning, afternoon, evening, and night? So I just want to let you guys know that I decided to create myself another video of another NVMe SSD because just like in my trying out the Sabrent Heatsink for PS5 on part 1 and part 2, as I was using the Samsung 980 Pro SSD of course from before, which I thought was pretty good. I like that SSD. So I pretty much decided to get myself another SSD from Seagate, which I got myself a Firecuda 530 SSD, and I thought, why not? Because the reason why I bought it was because it was on sale, and heard many great things about it too, so I thought, why not? Because I bought it on sale for about $474.99, which it was on sale at the time, so I thought, why not? So I got it through Amazon, and ultimately I got it to my house. And I wanted to try it out just out of curiosity. So I just thought, why not? So I have it here with me. Just the one without the heatsink, by the way. This is a 2 TB version, by the way, so you guys can see for yourselves. I'm not sure you guys can see here. So let me just flip the camera here. You just flip it the other way there. All right. Oh, kind of. There we go. This is what it looks like. Despite the screen being a little small, but yeah. So yeah, so I bought this one without the heatsink, which, hold on, let me just get out of that corner here. A little stuck there. There we go. Yeah, so I bought one without the heatsink because with the extra heatsink, it just costs a little bit more, like $30 to $40 more. So I ended up just getting like the SSD itself instead, just without it. So I was gonna try to see if I could like pair it with the Sabrent PS5 heatsink, so that way it's easier. And I did actually went out of my way to buy like a few more things from Amazon, which I bought myself the Sabrent Rocket NVMe heatsink as well, which eventually I'll probably like include this in my future videos eventually at some point in time in the future, because whenever I needed to play like PC games, so in the near future, one day. So you guys know ahead of time, which it did also came with like heat pipes, which I couldn't say no to that. It was double-sided as well. And that's an offer I couldn't refuse. And just one more here, but I got myself an SSD enclosure. Yep. Which is also tool-free as well. Really good stuff. So you don't have to worry about like, excuse me, getting yourself like a screwdriver or a paper clip and stuff like that just to get it activated. Eventually it just opens up like a treasure chest, which is pretty cool. Guys, just to let you guys know at a time that I have previously opened this from before off camera, so you guys know at a time, and so forth. So I just wanted to let you guys know at a time what kind of stuff I'll use in the video. And let me just get back to my normal stuff. Camera position. Because it's a little bit iffy jiffy there. Let me flip the way I was from before. There we go. Yeah, perfect. So anyway, so we got that done. So what I plan to do in this video was that I'm going to try and unbox the SSD, and then eventually try to get it installed into the PS5's M.2 SSD slots, so that way I could be able to see how it goes and check the read speed, including like making a comparison with the games being put into the PS5 SSD, the Samsung 980 Pro, and as well as the Firecuda 530 as well. So yeah, and just a little heads up that both the 980 Pro and as well as the 530 is both 2 TB versions, so you guys know ahead of time, and so forth. And just before we do that, which of course, like once I got those done, then I'll put my final thoughts into it too, and I will most definitely like put more details in the description and as well as the pinned comments, so you guys could find the items that I showed off on the webcam and stuff like that. Because on the webcam it's a little bit grainy, but eventually we'll jump into the action camera eventually. And yeah, and of course, just to let you guys know that these kind of videos I make, they're mostly just like a personal video sort of thing. So it's basically like non-professional, like all the time. Because like from past to present day, And even in the future, I always make my videos like personal videos, like all the time. It's just basically just a hobby, so you guys know at a time. So in short words, like don't feel pressure to like jump into something that you're not comfortable with. Just basically just think for yourself specifically, you know, whether it catches your interest or not. Because just to let you guys know at a time, these kind of videos I make, they're just mostly a personal thing. It's just for fun. Just at least that way I could be able to like, you know, share my thoughts and stuff like that, you know, and try something new, do a little experimentation and so forth. And yes, I am aware about feedback, of course. There are times and moments I make mistakes. It happens. Guys, you know, when I do those mistakes, I just like take it for what it is, take notes, and try to do better. Every single day, I try to do better. So you guys know at a time. Like I mentioned from before, like in my second part of trying out the Sabrent PS5 heatsink, that's why I kind of previously stated from before, like, you know, mistakes happens. There are those times and moments where you just have to make the best out of it. And yeah. So I always kept that in mind every now and then, you know, whenever I make videos, just to make sure to make the best out of it. And yeah, just want to let you guys know at a time what you guys wanted to hear and so forth. So we're gonna jump into the SSD right now. So let's jump into it. Alright then, so I guess we're about to unbox this now. So I guess that's what the SSD looks like. I guess I thought I had it upside down for a second, but okay. Let me just open this up here. Oop. Okay, hold on. Oh, it's over there. Okay, I see. Pretty nicely packaged though. So it comes with the usual manuals and stickers, which is pretty cool. Which I like it. I like these kind of stickers. And of course you got the warranty stuff, data recovery services, which everybody knows for sure, so you know the rest. Pretty good stuff. Always good to have. Warranty. And yeah, so stuff like that. So I guess this is what the NVMe looks like, so I guess we could see what it looks like. It's neatly packaged. Oh, hold on. I'm just trying to do this as carefully as possible, because, you know, nice and delicately. So I'm guessing that's the bottom part of it. Yep, bottom part, and then this is the top part. Nice and smooth. Really nice. I like it. So this is pretty much the heatsink, by the way, from Sabrent, so you guys know at the time. And yeah, still good to use. And here's my Samsung 980 Pro, so we're gonna swap it out. And this is my spare screw as well, just like from before, just to replace the original screw from before, which I'll probably show you the back again, so you guys know. Oh, there it is. There we go. We'll just get that little screw there. Here we go. So let me get that one there for a second, because it's kind of fighting me like crazy. It's like a needle in a haystack. I could just shake the other one there. All right, there we go. Fantastic. So pretty much this is what my original screw was from before, when I had it like in that particular one. Because it used to be like right over here where I used to screw it there. Instead, I kind of like decided to do it with the with a new one instead, like this one, for example. So just like in my previous video, like the part 2 of trying out this Sabrent PS5 heatsink. So yeah, so I ultimately had to use like an actual like rotary tool to cut it out of there because it got stuck from before. So I ultimately had to cut like the top part of it whatsoever and replace it with these ones instead. So once again, I'll put these in the description. So these kind of screws are the M3 by 1/4 inch computer case screws. So basically just like M3 screws, so you guys know at a time, which I will most likely put this in the description so you guys can find it. So in case if something like this happens to your original screw, you can always have these ones, which they also work, by the way. And yeah, so let's give you guys a little refresher there just in case, and so forth. So we're gonna put in the Firecuda in there, the SSD, by the way. Just want to make sure to yeah, okay. And of course the usual, so you guys know at a time. Always want to make sure that you placed it in the particular size of it, of course. Yeah, like these kind of sizes, for example. And yeah, I'll try the best I can to get a little closer, or just leave it as it was from before, so that's fine either way, so you guys can see it very clearly. So we're gonna put this standoff spacer, which we'll put in the 80 spot just in case, since we have a 2280. So yeah, so you guys know at a time. So we're gonna put this Firecuda in there. We'll just put a little more space in, because I do have to make the shadows work kind of in the way. So okay, and try to insert it in a 45-degree angle just in case, until it's properly inserted. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, so that's fine. Hold on. Just want to double check here. Alright. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me just get this in there properly. Okay. Okay, here we go. Got it this time. Lock in place. Let me just move the 980 Pro out of the way just to play it safe. And then we're gonna put the cover back of the heatsink. Just make sure inserts. So this is pretty much the SSD enclosure that I mentioned at the beginning of the video and stuff like that, which is, once again, is tool free. It's also compatible with the PCIe NVMe, and as well as the SATA SSD as well, so you guys know at a time. And this is what it looks like, pretty much aluminum case and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty good stuff. And just like mentioned from before, that I have previously opened the box from before and stuff like that, so you guys know at a time. Comes like with manual, all sorts of things. It's of course an independent little standoff slash spacer whatsoever, and yeah, all sorts of things. Pretty basic stuff, pretty simple. You know, it also comes with the USB as well, like this one for example, so you guys can see for yourself. So pretty basic stuff, so you guys can know ahead of time. Kind of like a treasure chest specifically, and with a USB connector. And yeah, pretty basic. So you can connect it to like your computer, laptop, your phones, and all sorts of things. And yeah, the list goes on whatsoever. And yeah, and of course just like this one over here, so you can use it for like the shorter drives as well. So I kind of kept that just in case for future reference. And yeah, it's a pretty cool stuff, I have to say. Pretty nice. And of course just format stuff too, of course. Pretty basic. So I have the USB, and this is what the enclosure looks like. Of course, it has like a port here too, and it has a little opening, kind of like a treasure chest. Pretty basic stuff, and it also comes with like a thermal pad as well, so you don't have to worry about like overheating your NVMe's, which is pretty good stuff. Which is pretty nice though. And I also have to mention that I think I might try to use the 980 Pro to do so I figured why not. Probably do it by example. So just like how we put the Firecuda into the M.2 SSD slot, and yeah. So 45-degree angle, making sure to fit in there properly. Kind of like putting on a shoe and stuff, but you know the rest. And yeah, and of course I tend to use this to lock it into place, of course. So that way it stays in place so it doesn't spring out of there too. And yeah, good stuff. And let's connect this one over here. Pretty neat stuff. And also I have to mention, in addition to it, that I actually did take the time to get myself a Type-C USB adapter specifically. So that way it's easier for me to connect it to like the computers, laptop, and as well as the PS5 console. So it's easier that way. So that way it's like less hassle. Which of course, once again, I'll put it in the description and pin comments so you guys can find these kind of adapters and accessories, and the list goes on. Because I could also use it as an added bonus to connect it like that. Make it look like an extended USB, of course, but it's pretty cool. Like at least you have like alternative solutions, of course. If one thing doesn't work out, you can use another too. Pretty good stuff. So now that I showed you guys the SSD and enclosure, so we're gonna jump into the PS5 right now and probably try out a few games and make a comparison with the SSD. So we're gonna jump into it now. So since I made a comparison between the PS5 SSD, the Samsung 980 Pro, as well as the Firecuda 530, which I do have to mention that I was using the old firmware of the 980 Pro, which I do plan to try and see if I can get the firmware updated for the 980 Pro. So that's a little heads up for you guys. And yeah, so I also was planning to see if I could like check if there's any updates for the Firecuda 530. So just a little heads up for you guys. So what I plan to do is that I was going to try to get this installed into my PC and whatsoever. So basically the motherboard with the M.2 slot in there. And I did also I do plan to use this particular Rocket NVMe heatsink from Sabrent. And just to let you guys know ahead of time that yes, I have opened this from off camera, just to let you guys know. So basically it kind of has like the manual and stuff like that, where I kind of like previously like checked from before whatsoever, like, you know, pretty basic stuff. Because since the Firecuda 530 is double-sided, which I did notice there's a little bit of extra chips in there too, so I'll probably assume there's extra memory and so forth. So what I plan to do is that I was just following through the instructions carefully, which I'm not sure if you guys can see, because as best as I could. Pretty basic stuff, like for a single-sided, as well as the hold on, how to put it in properly, which I kind of look at the instructions carefully off camera as well, which I have to mention and so forth, and as well as like putting it onto where the PC is, M.2 slot. And yeah, so what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna try and put the oops, I didn't mean to do that, but okay, just trying to take it out properly, but okay. So what I plan to do is that I'm gonna try to install a heatsink with this NVMe, and then I'll probably do the same thing with the Samsung 980 Pro as well. So I'm gonna try and get this installed, which I did have to mention that I do plan to keep the film just in case, just for like preservation purposes, so that way just make sure that the thermal tapes are long lasting at least and so forth. But I did kind of mess around with it off camera as well and so forth. So I'm gonna still gotta try to keep the tape, I mean the film and stuff. Even though it's a little bit messy there, but I'd probably still keep it. A little messy though. So okay. Probably on both sides. So when I read the instructions, so since it's double-sided, since it's double-sided, so I'm gonna try and get this out of there. Okay, a little messy with the thermal tape, but I was gonna once again I was messing around with it off camera and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make sure to put it in gently as I could, because I don't want to put too much pressure. Just a tiny bit, so in case if I needed, I'll swap it out and stuff. Oh wait, it's not even. Hold on. It didn't feel right. Okay. So I kind of noticed that apparently. Just want to make sure to even it properly. Yep, okay. So let's make sure. And I think it should be okay. Alright. It's pretty even. So let me see if I can get the top part, which since the since this NVMe is double-sided, which I'm gonna make sure to take off the film just in case, because I got carried away from before, off camera of course, and etc. Alright, there we go. I'm gonna get it installed like this, which I gotta make sure this keep it like this, but not the other way, but you know, like this. Okay. I just want to make sure it's easy to see right through. And check on the other side. And okay, all right, fantastic. So this is good to know. So that way I could be able to put the screws in there too. All right. So let me see if I could use a screwdriver, which I won't be using this one. So I'm gonna use like the other screwdriver instead, because I find it's a little bit more easier. Because like I used in my previous video of like trying out the Sabrent PS5 heatsink, so I'll probably use this more often. So let me see if I can. So I'm gonna try to check to make sure it is properly secure. Okay. Bottom part's fine. So it's not moving anywhere. Yep. Okay, fantastic. So it's in place. So now that we got that set up, so let's try and get it installed in our motherboard. So this was my old motherboard over here. So it's really pretty much a few years old because I had it for quite some time. So I pretty much decided to take it out of the PC case because I needed to get myself a new motherboard at some point in time, because just to make sure to stay up with the latest hardware and software. So at least that way I can get prepared and stuff like that for making videos and all sorts of things, even PC gaming too and so forth. So yeah, so kind of want to let you guys know ahead of time. So we're gonna jump into the new motherboard. So this is pretty much my computer over here. So despite like a lot of cables and power connectors cluttered all over the place, pretty much I just try to do what I can to keep everything organized. Not perfect, I just make the best out of it. So pretty much in the future I plan to get myself a full tower PC case one day, so at least that way I could be able to have like more space for like everything, like cables, all sorts of components and so forth and etc. So just a little heads up for you guys just in case. And yeah, so now that I got the Seagate Firecuda 530 installed in this heatsink, I'm gonna try and put this in this M.2 screw right here whatsoever. And this new motherboard I have, by the way, so I kind of want to upgrade from my old one just to stay up to date with the latest technology and stuff, like hardware and software and so forth. And I'm gonna try to use the standoff as well. That came with the motherboard, so this is the one that came with the motherboard, of course, with this standoff and as well as the screws whatsoever. Which it also came in this bag as well, by the way, etc. And I'll probably like use this screw instead to put it into this little standoff here. So we're gonna get to it. I think the first thing I'll probably do is probably like take off the, yeah. And before I take it off, let you guys know that I have previously turned it off, powered it off, and also it's been disconnected as well from like the power bar as well as the wall socket too, so you guys know at the time. You know, take the extra precautions just in case. So first thing I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna try and like take off the video card first because it's kind of in the way. So yeah, and it has a little bit of a screw there, so let me just get through it for a second. So now I should be able to put the standoff in there / spacer, which you know the rest. And yeah. Alrighty. So I'm gonna pretty much try and put on the 2280, which is right over here, by the way. It's 2280 and so forth. So I'm gonna put that in there. Oh, hold on. I done goofed it. I'm just trying to make sure to get it properly, like as gently as I possibly can. You know, shaking around like crazy. All right, there we go. So it should be okay now. And also, I think I should probably check with the pliers too, just so it's tightened properly. Just to make sure. Oh, hold on. Alright, looks like it's okay. Alright, I'm just double checking. So now that we got that there, now we should be able to put in this heatsink here with the NVMe SSD and so forth. So just like how I did with the PS5, M.2 slot in there as well. So 45-degree angle, making sure it sticks into the slot. Alright, should be okay. And I put the screw in there as well. It's a little bit hard to see, but try to make the best of it. Or I could actually like move the light a bit. Either way, whatever. Or just do it like this, either way. Try to get a little closer to you. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure to see where I was supposed to put it, so there it is. Oh. I think the other screw kind of was attached to it, so it's not too bad. Alright, there it is. Okay. Just wanted to get prepared here. Alrighty. So it should be right there. One second. Oh. Okay. This is a little bit dark in there, so I'm just trying to make the best out of it. Maybe adjust the brightness too. There we go, much better. Because it does look a little dark on that side, so I just wanted to brighten it some more. Because it does seem a little off there. Okay. Alright, here we go. We got it this time.
Just want to make sure it's a little easy to see. All right, there we go. So it should be in place right now. So let me just get the other leg too. All right, there we go. It's a little bright. Yeah, so the screw should be in place. Yeah, there it is. So it's not moving anywhere, so it should be okay. Fantastic. Good, good, good. So just make sure I turn off the light a bit and get the computer monitor on, and probably check out the see if the NVMe SSD has an update there. And then once I got that done, then I'll do the same thing with the 980 Pro, and then should be good to go. So once I get those done, then I'll jump back into the PS5 console and stuff like that. So yeah. Alrighty. So I'll just clear everything first before I turn on the computer. Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright, so it's fine. Because I already have like an extra like SATA port there already, so yeah. So there's about like 8 in total in this motherboard, so just a little heads up. And yeah. Alright, cool. Anyway. Get everything cleared out, and then get the power cord. Get it plugged up. Right over here. Yep, it's all plugged in. And then heading towards the power switch, where the power supply unit is. So that means the it's ready to be turned on. So we got that ready, and I also want to make sure to put the display port, of course. Yep, this display port, the 1.4 into this graphics card, which I do have to mention. This is the EVGA GeForce RTX 2060, by the way. Just a little heads up. And yeah, it should show on the screen, which not quite yet. Oh, there it is. Okay, it showed up on the screen. All right. So now we should be able to turn on the computer, but instead of like these buttons, I'm gonna use the easy button, which I bought off of Amazon, by the way. So that way it's easier for me to, instead of like reaching towards like those buttons, I can just like use something like this. And plus it's long as well, by the way, very long. And I also had it like in the front panel connectors too, as you can see. So that's where I put it. So with the easy button, we're gonna turn on the computer. Alright, so since we got the NVMe SSD installed in the motherboard's M.2 slots, so what I plan to do is that I was going to try to check the official websites on the support page for the Firecuda 530 to see if there's any like firmware updates and stuff like that. And once I got that done, I'll probably like do the same thing with the Samsung 90D Pro and probably get it installed into the motherboard's M.2 slot in there and get it installed, and probably see if there's any firmware updates for that one too as well. So basically what's gonna do is that I'm gonna try to do like both of them for the probably do like double checking if there's any like firmware updates for both of the NVMe SSDs. So just out of curiosity, just to stay up to date and so forth. And yeah. And I did actually like took the time to like get myself the Crystal Disc Mark that everybody was talking about. So I heard many good things about it, which I'll probably get to that in a moment. So I just wanted to like check the official website, and pretty much it's the support page for the 530 and stuff like that. So I was gonna try and type in the serial number and see if it's there, because I'm gonna double check to make sure. So it's gonna check for firmware updates. Okay, so it looks like there's no. So let me try and type it in again, or I could just like copy and paste it. Oh, hold on. Okay, all right, that should do it. Let me just double check again just to make sure. So it looks like there was none. Okay, none at all. Okay, fair enough. So anyway, I guess there's no firmware updates for it. So let me just see if I can go to the Crystal Disk Mark there. Well, this info, but still. Either way. And I did actually like try out this application, and it's pretty good. I like it. I might try to use that in my future videos one day when given a chance to. And yeah, it's pretty good. It shows the Firecuda right there. So the health is good. The temperature is nice. All thanks to the Sabrent Rocket NVMe heatsink, so keeps it nice and cool down. As well as the SATA SSD of my Samsung 860 Evo, so which is pretty good. And I am aware about like this one too. It's probably because of the Seagate hard drive disk I have. It still works though, so it's all good. So at least I know that there's no firmware update for the Firecuda 530, but I think I'll still watch out though. Probably like double check in the future one day if they have one day. So just to make sure. So now that I know that there's no firmware update now and stuff like that, at least I know to the best of my knowledge. So I'm gonna try and see if I can swap out the 530 out of the M.2 slot, and then try to like deal with the Samsung 90D Pro, see if there's any updates for it too, because I heard there's an update for that stuff. So I'm gonna try to do it right now.
A few moments later.
So pretty much, I guess there was no firmware update for the Firecuda 530s, but I will still try to keep in mind that in the future I might try to see if I could like check on the support site again, see if there's like future updates for it. So I'll just keep in mind next time, and etc. So pretty much I decided to swap out the Firecuda out of the heatsink here whatsoever, which I did have to end up like putting the film back on the thermal tape just to be on the safe side, just once again for preservation purposes. So in case I need to like, you know, swap out like the SSDs and stuff and so forth. And yeah, so I'm gonna pretty much try and put the 980 Pro into this heatsink, which I'll probably like connect it to the computer again, because I heard there's like a new update for the 980 Pro. So I thought, you know, why not, and stuff like that. And of course, this is pretty much single-sided, of course, since there's no chips down below here, none here, because I only see like this one so far with like controllers and stuff like that, and blah blah blah, everything else. And yeah, And then what the instructions kind of showed me was that I had to end up like, probably like for single-sided like SSDs, I have to like most definitely had to like take off the film and put it on top of one and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try and get this installed. Yeah, so I had to add, like the instruction says over here, which is a little bit shiny here, but I just make the best out of it. It kind of just says that if it's single-sided, just like add like thermal tape beam on top of it. So I had to like use this one as an add-on. Just want to double check again, making sure everything's in place. So what's this part as well? So that's fine. This one's fine too. See? Okay. Okay, everything's fine. Okay, cool. So now that we got that in there, so let's try to go back to the motherboard again and get this installed and check out to see if the update is there with the firmware and stuff like that. So yeah, so let's go and install into the motherboard. So since I was able to install the Samsung 980 Pro into the motherboard of my PC, so before I go to the official website and stuff like that, so I'm gonna try and check the crystal disk just to check how it's doing whatsoever. And it looks like it's doing pretty well. Health is good, temperature is good, and we can see like the read and write speed, which I kind of forgot to mention in my Firecuda 530. Whereas right over here too, forgot to mention that. And yeah, so at least I know for sure. And then also I had to mention that I had previously installed the Samsung edition, of course, in my computer, just to make sure. And I did actually took the time to check the update section. And so far, this is probably the latest version that I have for it. So I was checking right around here to see if there's any like button prompt for it, but it seems like it's no button prompt. So it's kind of like stuck to this one here. So eventually what I'm gonna do is that I was gonna go to the websites, which I've been like Google searching like the firmware updates and stuff like that, checking the overview, all sorts of things and etc. Just to make sure that everything's up to date. And making sure I have like the necessary like compatibility with the like latest CPU processor and everything else, just so it's function properly and so forth. And I already downloaded the Samsung edition, of course, which I obviously did. So it works with the SSD of the Samsung products and whatsoever. So I actually went to the download section with the tools and software. So I made sure to look in the firmware section, right over here in the firmware SSD. So I made sure to pick this one, but not that one though, because it's pretty much a normal 980. So I kind of stuck with this one instead, just to make sure, as well as like looking up on the firmware update utility, of course, which it says ISO as well, of course. So it has like a manual over here, so that way I know. So I did actually look at this like off camera as well as everything else while Google searching everything.
just to make sure I follow the instructions carefully and whatsoever. And then it just requires like just the hardware and software. So we got the SSD, and then we're gonna use like a flash disk. So I'm gonna use like most likely my USB stick, most likely 32 gigabyte, by the way, which I did make sure to format it as FAT32, of course, just a little heads up, which majority of people would suggest more often, so I went with that instead. And I need to use some software called unit booting and stuff like that, make it bootable. And then pretty basic stuff. You just like get the software, run it, this image, as well as selecting the firmware ISO file, and booting it in the drive, which I'm probably assuming that it wants me to just put in the root directory in the USB stick, most likely, and so forth. So this image, that's the thing I need to put in there, where the drive is. So it kind of shows you on like Windows, Linux, and as well as Mac, of course, if I'm correct, because it's been a while since I mentioned about the Mac, so I was like, okay. And yeah, so basic stuff, as well as restarting the computer. So pretty good stuff. And I did also like take the time to even look at the in like Reddit as well, just in case, just for more info as well. Just looking at stuff like that for like PC and PS5 consoles and stuff, and etc. So I've been like looking around like crazy, specifically just like Google searching like solutions and whatsoever, and etc. And yeah, all sorts of things. But looking everywhere. And that's how I was like able to like look around more. So we're gonna download the unit booting, which we're gonna get one for Windows. So we got that, and before I run the program, I'm gonna try to connect my USB stick, just in case. So we're gonna go to like this PC, and go to properties of it. So I got like the file system as FAT32, like once again, so that way it can run properly. And eventually I'm gonna try and put this into the root of my directory of the USB stick, just in case. It should be okay. And then we can run the program, because eventually it'll probably restart my computer, of course, once I get it running. So just like the image showed before, so alright, so then we're gonna go to this one over here. Yep, just like that, just as said, just like as it is, just as instructed, of course. So I'm making sure everything is up to date, and I'll just have to run it. Alright, so now that's done. Alright, so now we're back on the computer, on the desktop computer. So pretty much I got a notification from the bottom right corner from the Samsung edition, which it let me know ahead of time. And I was able to replace the old firmware of the 980 Pro with the new one, as previously from before, which is this new firmware, by the way, so you guys know ahead of time. So this is the new firmware I installed. So after restarting the computer, I kind of lost a little bit of a video clip of it because the data of the video clip got corrupted, so ultimately I had to skip ahead a bit. And yeah, so we're gonna jump into the Samsung right here. So we're on the 980 Pro right now, and as I go to update right now, so pretty much it's the latest version. This is the new one, by the way, for the 980 Pro. So I replaced the old one with this one instead. So this is the brand new one that I had to use. And I'm gonna go back into Crystal Disk once again, and to see if there's any difference in the read and write speed. So it kind of does look the same, most likely. So I was like, okay, at least I know. So I'm gonna try and see if I can go to disk management and see if I can format it, if I could. Since it says allocate unallocated there, so we're gonna try and do that. Which you can also do the same thing with the Firecuda, of course, 530. So I'm gonna try to make a new volume, which once again I kind of like looked around again while Google searching, and I think I'll probably make it into A. Yeah, probably this letter A. NTFS, yes, defaults. We'll put in like Samsung 980 Pro, 2 terabytes, and I think it should be okay. Alrighty, should pop out just like that, so I can just use it on my PC. So good stuff, fantastic. Pretty simple stuff, which once again I kind of looked around just to double check everything, you know, just in case. And yeah, pretty good stuff. So at least I got the update for the 980 Pro. So it's running like that, so it's cool, fantastic. So I'm pretty happy about it. So pretty much once we got that done, so what I plan to do is that I'm gonna jump back into my PS5 console and see if there's any difference. Which what I plan to do is that I'm gonna try and see if I could like put the 980 Pro in there first and probably reformat it and see if there's a difference in the read speed, I suppose. And then I'll do the same thing with the Firecuda 530. So we're gonna jump into the PS5 console right now. So we're back in the menu of M.2 SSD storage. So since I put the Samsung 980 Pro in there, so we're gonna try to format it again and see if the update worked, and so on. Just out of curiosity. See if the read speed makes a difference. Oh, there you go. Fantastic. So now that we updated that, so we should be able to get a much faster rate. So that's pretty cool. So fantastic. So it actually works surprisingly, so that's pretty cool. So let me just go to the settings of the PS5 just to make sure. Excuse me. I'm gonna go to the settings here and go to storage and that too. So cool, fantastic. Alrighty then, so at least we know for sure that it was up to date. So I'm gonna try to reformat it once again just to double check, because you know, just to make sure, just to be as accurate as I could. And yeah, so it's at 6.5 gigabytes. So let me see if I could double check again, just to be certain. So at least we know for sure that the update works, so that's pretty cool. Of the firmware update of the SSD. So that's fantastic. And then it'll bring us back to the oh. Alright, so back to the M.2 storage again. And we're going to format it once again. See if it's the same or different. Yep, same thing. Okay, fantastic. So good to know. Good to know. Alrighty. So I'm gonna jump back into the settings again. Alrighty then. And then we'll go to the PS5 settings once again. Yep, still there. Fantastic. So it's good to know. Just wanted to mute the mic just in case, because he's turning off all of a sudden. So anyway, it looks like the update worked, the firmware update. So fantastic. So luckily I was able to do that, because I remember pretty well in my previous video with the trying out the Sabrent PS5 heatsink, like part 1 and part 2, because I noticed that the previous speed was about like 5.7 gigabytes of speed. So eventually updating it with this one and jumped up to 6.5. So with the latest firmware updates, that's cool. Fantastic. So at least I know this time, so that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna try and jump onto the Seagate Firecuda 530 and see if it's gonna be a little bit similar to that speed. So we're gonna jump into that. Alright, so I've returned to reformatting the Firecuda once again, 530. So for some odd reason, it's giving me like this 5.1 gigabytes of read speed, which is kind of strange. So I had to end up like checking it the third time this time. So I'm gonna try to format it again. It's very odd how it's showing me like 5.1 for some odd reason in my second. Alright, so now it's showing like 6.3 gigabytes at least, which even though it's in megabytes, but still I'll just try to like summarize it at least. So it's the third time I'm checking it, so okay. So 6.3. Alright. So I'm gonna try and see if I could like reformat it once again, just to be certain. Let's be on the safe side, because it was a little bit odd in my second time doing that. In my like first and second attempt of reformatting it, is showing me that for some odd reason. Alright, so let me just go back to settings again and storage, and then reformat it again. Alright, so we're back in the this menu again. So let me just turn on back the controller again, and then just format it once again. See if it shows up the same. Okay, so now it's back on like 6.3 gigabytes. Okay, so it should be alright. So I just wanted to like, you know, check over and over again just to be certain. So it should be alright now, so cool. Fantastic. So let me just go to the storage again. And then it should be alright, so cool. Fantastic. So anyway, so now that I checked it like the third and fourth time at least. So I'm gonna try at least like probably put at least like one game. At least probably like make like a comparison like between like the Firecuda 530 and as well as the Samsung 980 Pro, which I did also recently updated with its new firmware and so forth. Just a little heads up. But so basically I just put that one game in like one of each of the SSD, just to see if it's like similar speed and stuff like that, you know, and so forth. So yeah, so we're gonna like try it out. So we're almost near the end of the video, so I just want to let you guys know about my final thoughts about it on the Firecuda 530. It's a pretty neat NVMe SSD. I like it, which I heard many good things about it from people, so I tried it out myself, and I thought it was pretty neat. I like it. Guys, I had to go through like a little bit of few troubleshootings apparently when I was trying to like reformat it on the PS5 console, because it was giving me like 5.1 gigabytes for some odd reason. So once I was able to reformat it a few more times, then it was able to jump to like 6.4 gigabytes. So it's a bit weird how it happened like that in the first time. So I guess later on it improved a bit, as well as like taking the time to stay up to date and see if there's any like firmware updates. But there's none so far. So at least I'll keep in mind in the future if they do have like firmware updates. I'll just watch out for that stuff eventually, as well as taking the time to update the Samsung 980 Pro as well, which I kind of updated from the old firmware to the new firmware, and it has like similar speed to the Firecuda 530. So I thought that's pretty cool. And yeah, so what I plan to do was that I plan to try to use the Samsung 980 Pro for the PS5 console, and as well as using the Firecuda for the PC gaming as well. So that's what I plan to do most likely. Just a little heads up. Just to give you guys my final thoughts about it, and it's pretty neat. And of course, I will put more details in the description as well as the pinned comments on the details and all sorts of information that I found throughout Google searching, like various websites, and in greater detail. And yeah, so you guys can find it very easily, like how I found it and stuff. And yeah, so I'd like to thank you all so much for watching the video. I hope everybody has a very great morning, afternoon, evening, and night, as well as staying safe. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.